Several years ago, I wrote an article for the Advocate, the paper I write for, about my old white dog that I had when I was a kid. And it received so much reaction that I decided to maybe put a song with it and make it in the form of a record. And we retitled the piece, Once Again the Old Woman Cried. And once again the old woman cried, and longed for the little boy with the dog at his side. The old man turned his face to the wall so the world couldn't see his tears as they fall. Old white dog lay there on the porch remembering. He was thinking of the day that he came riding home in the basket of the little boy's bicycle. As the two of them walked towards the house, the old woman appeared on the back porch. She took the snow-white pup from the youngster and scratched behind his ears and said something like, "A cute little fella, ain't he?" And the dog liked that. He knew this was going to be a good family for him to have. About that time, the old man come from the shed, and the ear-scratching routine was repeated. Now, growing up with little boy was fun for the dog. In the summers, they'd go out to Uncle's farm and spend the afternoons and the mornings and the evenings, all of it, chasing cows, hunting blackberries, picking mushrooms. In the wintertime, though, it wasn't quite so much fun because little boy had to go to school. But the old woman compensated by giving him scraps on the table and let him lay behind the cook stove in the kitchen. But in the summer that the young boy turned 17, old dog noticed a change. They now called him young man. And one morning the young man came down from his upstairs bedroom and spent an unusually long time scratching old dog's ears and petting him and talking to him. And after breakfast, the young man and the old man got in the old Ford car and drove away. They were gone for a long time, but eventually the car crunched back into the gravel driveway and the old man was alone. Old dog couldn't figure it out. Days passed and young man didn't reappear. Days became weeks, the weeks became months, and the months became years. Finally, late one night, a familiar footstep at the front porch. An old dog nearly tore that door down before they could get it open. And there stood a young man in a funny blue suit with a white hat. And once again, the old woman cried. Well, things were right. The world was normal again. The young man was home and the old dog was happy. But one day, the young woman appeared on the scene. The young man called the old dog over to him and said, "Old boy, I'm getting married. Do you want to go live with me in my new home?" As if to answer, he went to the foot of old woman's chair and sat down. Now the years had passed and old dog's eyes and ears grew dim. He was laying there on the front porch thinking about all this, and the memory of a rabbit in that bean patch across the field, across the road, stirred him, and he got up and went across to see if he could scare up one. An old woman was standing in the kitchen frying some taters. She heard the squeal of brakes and the thump, and she looked up just in time to see a white farm go hurtling down the road in front of the car. The man got out of his car and picked up the still form and brought her to the house. Had tears in his eyes. He said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. He just didn't seem to hear me or see me." Once again, the old woman cried. An old man come around the corner of the house with a sickle in his hand and looked at what was going on. turned head for the shed, mumbling something about a shovel. Once again, the old woman cried. And once again, the old woman cried, and longed for a little boy with a dog at his side. The old man turned his face to the wall, so the world couldn't see his tears as they fall.